Yeah.
Yes.
It does. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Back there. It should be back there. No, no, besides, maybe Alan. I call Tom. Yeah. It's 7 o'clock. It's time to call our meeting in order. Amy, please call a roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Ms. Blind. Present. Mr. Shute.
Present.
Mr. Cost.
Here.
Mr. Hauser.
Here.
Mr. Labutus.
Here.
Mr. Marmy.
Present.
Mr. Neely.
Here.
Mr. Rath.
Here. Everyone is present tonight. Will you please stand for the invocation by Mr. Hauser, then please remain standing for the pledge.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you so much for all your many blessings. I want to start off by lifting up Councilwoman Blind's mother to you. I pray that you'd be watching over her, taking over the meeting as she goes through a really difficult time. And I pray for the whole family that you'd be watching over them and providing peace and healing and guidance to them as they navigate a really difficult and hard time. I also want to lift up to you proceedings here tonight. Pray that you would watch over our city, navigate these topics here tonight. I also want to lift up our safety forces to you. All they're doing to keep our city safe and our residents safe. I pray that you watch over them as they have a tough and difficult job, as you know. I just want to also lift up our country to you. We are truly one nation under God, and I pray that you just watch over everything that's happening in our country here today.
Mr. Barker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, I want to welcome Rory Black, fourth grader at St. Francis de Sales, to lead us in the pledge tonight. Rory, come on up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rory.
Next on the agenda is caucus. Do we have anything pertaining to tonight's meeting? Next up is minutes of the February 18th meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Labuda, second by Mr. Hauser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next is appointments. Mayor Hall appointing Dan Hunt to the Heath, Newark, Licking County Port Authority Board of Directors. His new term begins immediately to fill the term of a past member. His new 4-year term will begin June 1st, 2025, will expire May 31st, 2029. Is that senior or junior?
That would be,
Seniors, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next up is reports of standing committees, finance, safety, capital improvements without objection will be received and filed. Reports from city officials, there are none this meeting. Communications. Ohio Division of Liquor Control, transfer liquor permit application from Mel Herbie Girls LLC, DBA Bummy's Pub and Grill and Patio, 155 North Cedar Street, first floor and basement, North Ohio 43055, the Mel Herbie Girls LLC, DBA Bummy's Pub and Grill and Patio. 399 West Main Street, North Ohio 43055. Next up, we are going to do a presentation by Law Director Trish Moore and Melanie Timmerman to give us an update on what they've been into.
Thank you, President Harris, members of council. Tonight, Melanie and I wanted to present the program that has been developed in partnership with many people here in the city of Newark and really throughout Licking County. And as you know, the KP ordinance was passed. And what I've explained to people at the meetings is that there's always been an emphasis on service. Services first. We're not trying to throw people in jail for being homeless. We want to get them back on their feet. So after the passage of the ordinance, it just so happened that Melanie came aboard to my office. And I went into her office and I said, Melanie, here's my idea. I want to have a diversion program for people that are picked up for prohibited camping or other crimes based on the cause being homelessness. Go. And she did some research and I'll let her kind of tell you what she did and what she found.
Thank you. Thank you for your time this evening. As Tricia explained, I started off by doing some research to see what other courts in Ohio were doing. I didn't find another court in Ohio that was holding a home court or a court with a diversion program in the way that Tricia envisioned it. There are a couple of housing courts in Ohio, but they deal with property maintenance issues, eviction, things of that nature. So I broadened my search and found some courts in the United States who were doing a home court similar to what we wanted to structure ours like. So I researched those, did a deep dive into those courts and used some of the structure that they had put into place to form what we are calling home court. And that stands for Housing Opportunities Through Municipal Engagement. So I just wanted to provide a brief overview of home court, how home court will operate. And then at the end, I'm so excited to share all the different organizations in the community that have partnered with us and the array of services that those organizations will be able to offer people who are participating in our home court. So as Tricia mentioned, we developed home court in collaboration with the Licking County Municipal Court. So we met with Judge Stansberry, Judge George, and Magistrate Liston. And Magistrate Liston was a champion of this court from the get-go. She hears a lot of our cases and small claims dealing with evictions, some property maintenance cases. So she's already well-versed and has some familiarity with some of the folks that we will be seeing in home court. This court will operate as a specialized docket court, so it will be a diversion program, and I'll explain a little bit more in detail about how that will work. And participation in home court is voluntary. So individuals who are eligible will be notified that they are eligible for participation, and it's up to that individual to choose to participate in home court. We know that not everybody who's eligible will choose to participate, but we've come to talk about how we believe in the story of the starfish, right? The gentleman who's walking along the beach one evening, he sees thousands of starfish washed up on the beach, and there's another gentleman throwing starfish back into the ocean. He's like, what are you doing? You can't save them all. And the gentleman says, but I made a difference to that one. So for those folks who want to engage, we know that we can make a difference in their lives with the services and partners that we have been able to put together. So to be eligible for home court, an individual has to be experiencing homelessness in Licking County. And I won't bore you with the details, but we use the federal definition of homelessness to help guide us in that determination. And then that individual also has to have been charged with a non-violent misdemeanor. So as Tricia mentioned, we often see individuals who are experiencing homelessness engaging in certain types of prohibited conduct. We see a lot of theft cases, criminal trespass, criminal damaging cases arising because of some of the issues that those people are encountering from being homeless. We also included the prohibited camping ordinance. So as I'll mention here in a few minutes, anybody who is charged with a prohibited camping violation is presumed to be eligible for engagement in home court. We have a designated time set for when home court will meet, and we wanted to do that because of the population that we're dealing with. We wanted some predictability regarding when home court will meet. So home court will meet every Wednesday at 11 a.m. We have time set aside for arraignments, for magistrate listing. We'll hear those cases, and we'll be using the small claims courtroom on the 4th floor. Just some a quick overview of how the process will work. Like we said, an individual who's charged with a non-violent misdemeanor is eligible for participation in home court. Again, that presumption that if it's a prohibited camping charge, they're going to be eligible. The other cases involving other non-violent misdemeanors, our office will review on a case-by-case basis. We'll look at the current and past charges and determine whether or not that individual with this charge should be eligible for participation in home court. Because this is a diversion program, what will essentially happen, the person will come to arraignments, they'll be told, you know, you're eligible for participation in home court. They'll be given an overview of what that means. And if they choose to participate, they enter into basically a plea agreement where they plead guilty to the crime that they were charged with or the offense they were charged with. That sentence is held in abeyance, and basically an alternative sanction of diversion is ordered by the court. So diversion is very similar to a term of probation. So they will be ordered to be placed on diversion. The length of that diversion will be based upon the charge, the offense they were charged with. And we're anticipating, because these are misdemeanors, that diversion period will last anywhere from 30 to 180 days. And Judge Magistrate Liston will set that diversion term. After the arraignment, the participant will immediately meet with the home court program coordinator. So we are super excited that we have a lot of our organizations who have said we want to partner with you. As we've talked to them and met with them, they also said, we want to be at this arraignment. Because sometimes to get people engaged in services, it takes a little bit to get them eligible. We want to be there at this meeting to meet with them. So we will have our home court program coordinator there. We will have several different service providers who have said, we want to be there and engage with these participants right away. Another organization that's partnering with us is DoubleTree, and they have agreed to pack a boxed lunch for all of our participants when they come into home court. So we'll have boxed lunches for them. We'll have some hygiene kits available. We'll have some non-perishable kits available. And some of our other partners have said, please send them. So the reentry program, please send them to us. We can help provide food, clothing, things of that nature. So we're going to get these people plugged in right away before they leave the building. We're going to get them plugged in. As we were thinking about the design, of home court, we thought, well, typically in a diversion program, you would have a diversion officer or probation officer who's overseeing kind of the terms and the program. But as we talked more and more and more, we thought we really want somebody with a social work background. Because this person's going to do an assessment with the individual. Based on that assessment, they're going to develop a treatment plan, which will become part of the individual's terms of diversion. And they're going to start connecting that individual with services. So we kind of said, okay, this is what we want. We want a program coordinator, and other courts have used a similar structure. And one of our big needs was, where do we come up with this program coordinator though? But Chad Brown has met with us and graciously agreed that the Licking County Health Department's community navigator can serve as our home court program coordinator. And we are absolutely thrilled, and we're so thankful for that partnership. So as I said, that individual or program coordinator will perform an intake or needs assessment. Based upon that assessment, they'll develop the treatment plan, which becomes part of the diversion terms. So during the diversion period, the home court participant is expected to report to their respective service providers, to engage in services until they come back to court. One piece that we wanted to include to make sure that folks are engaging is we wanted kind of this monthly status report to be submitted to the court. So the program coordinator will work with service providers, defense counsel, the participant to update the court on each individual and the progress they're making during that month. As we come close to the end of that period of diversion, a disposition hearing will be scheduled where the court will review how well this person has done during diversion. Have they engaged in services? Have they complied with services? Are they making progress? We know that not all of their needs will be met probably or dealt with within 30 to 180 days, but we want to see that they're making progress, they're engaging, they're starting to address some of those issues that led to them experiencing homelessness. If they successfully completed diversion, their case will be dismissed, and their attorney can later ask to have their record expunged too, which will help them down the road with employment, with housing opportunities, and things of that nature. For the individuals who are successfully dismissed, their cases, they're successful, they've completed diversion, their case is dismissed. I've also talked with our program coordinator about how we really want to develop a transition plan, right? The court's no longer involved, so now here's what you need to do to stay engaged and on the right track. So that's something that will be developed as well. As we set about to form home court, we really realized the truth of it will take a village. It will take a village to make this successful. So we've met with various nonprofits, churches, service providers, organizations. We've had 3 meetings here with 3 different groups of potential partners. We've gone to the Licking County Apartment Association. We've met with folks from MBNU. Like, we've tried to pull in as many resources as we can to look at creative solutions. We've also talked with other municipalities who are considering prohibited camping ordinances as well, and talked to them about engagement with home court. So as I've said, we've been creative in solution exploration. Chad helped us meet a huge need by providing the program coordinator, but we've also worked with Mount Vernon Nazarene University to have some of their Masters of Social Work students come serve as interns with our program coordinator and with home court. So they'll be getting experience helping arrange services and working with our participants. I'm excited to show you the next slide, because this slide shows you the range of services that our home court participants will have available to them. I don't want to read all of those, but you can see that we've really kind of covered a continuum of services for the participants in our program. And a lot of services, again, aim to address the issues that led them to homelessness and hopefully get them on a path to short-term housing, long-term housing, and being successful. The next few slides, and again, I won't read all the organizations that are on these slides, but are just some of the organizations in our community who have agreed to partner with Home Court. One thing I forgot to mention, at arraignments, I talked about how service providers will be there. Opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities will be there to start the eligibility process for people to get help with workforce services and development. Licking Memorial has offered to have a nurse available at Home Court to do some basic health assessments, re-entry. So we've, again, got a lot of service providers, Brightview, who's going to be there to help get folks engaged right away with substance abuse, counseling, treatment. So 3 more slides of partners. So as you can see, and we're still building partnerships. Like I updated this list Friday. So because we're still getting service provider information forms back from agencies and organizations saying, we want to partner with you and be part of Home Court. So we're so thrilled. Our next steps, we are putting our advisory council together. We're going to be hosting our first advisory board meeting in the next couple of weeks, and we are hoping to launch this spring. So we're hoping for an April launch. Just some of the program needs that we still know are out there are short and long-term housing options. Again, we're trying to be creative and work with groups that can maybe help provide financing for some short-term housing options, working with other groups to, again, think out of the box and be creative about how to make some of these housing options available. Other miscellaneous expenses we know will come up. Data management, we want to be able to track our data and look at whether or not this is effective, what we need to improve, immediate needs items for defendants, which we've had all kinds of people again offering to make immediate need items available for the defendants when they come in to Home Court. So thank you for your time and allowing us to share about Home Court.
And if I just want to say one thing, you will not find another court like this in the state of Ohio. And I think what makes this program so special that it's very community dependent. And I think you all saw the other day or not the other day, a few months ago, when we passed the ordinance, the amount of community people that came in here. Well, that kind of inspired me to be like, okay, this community wants to help people. Let's get everybody on the same page. And let's have everybody who wants to help be able to help. And what Melanie has put together is a network of services from churches all the way to Licking Memorial Hospital that have partnered with us for this program. And there will be so many services that are going to be available at their arraignment, And this is so important because we want them to leave as soon as we can get a hold of them with as many plans, services as possible. And we want to make it an environment where they're going to come back and report. So, that's why we said we don't want a probation officer, we want a service coordinator. There's going to be services at arraignments. There's going to be a box lunch when you come in to our arraignment. We want this to be as service oriented as possible. And I know that's what council was talking about when we passed this ordinance. So, thank you for your time. We look forward to reporting on how our program is going to go. And, we will be here after council to answer your questions.
And I should just know, many of our service providers are here this evening, so I'd like to thank them for being here as well.
Yes, so that's champion.
Is there any questions from council for these two young ladies?
100 of them.
100. We got a special meeting to now. And but this, Mr. Rath.
You know that presentation.
Sure.
I'm good for now.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Next up on the agenda is comments from citizens. This is your opportunity to come up and speak. Ask you to give your name and address. keep your comments to about 3 minutes. Come on up.
Thank you for that presentation. I thought there were some really good ideas in there. Okay, I'm sorry. Rochelle Bullen Smith, and I haven't been here for a while, and I guess anyway, Rochelle Bullen Smith, 237 Violet. Some really good ideas, and thank you for that. I think it's a good start. But it's still missing an awful lot. I did see something really exciting recently in the dispatch and some other sources. In Columbus, and there was another area. It's kind of extensive, got to see pictures. They created a village. In Columbus, they have miniature houses. They're gearing toward single person or possibly couples for now. I sense you're familiar with it. And that's a start. It's not a finish. But the thing is, there are some rules to it. There's some rent involved. In one of the projects in one of the other areas, it's working toward actually purchasing, starting to rent, and then gradually that rent goes toward having a home at the end of this certain period of time. They have a lot of the services that you're talking about. So that's exciting. I'm wondering whether you're planning on having showers more often than what is currently happening. That would be really a help for people to have self-esteem and the opportunity to. I've met a number of people that actually do work while being homeless, and it's really, really hard. And showers once a week does not cut it, nor the transportation. The advantage from what I can see of Columbus's situation is a lot of the services are in the same vicinity as the housing.
Yeah, about 30 seconds.
Okay, so anyway, I've talked to a lot of people that are in this situation, and a lot of really fine people with so many skills. We need to build them. And I'm not sure whether we're getting close enough to that with this, and I'd like to collaborate. In terms of things that I've done in terms of the education that I've done in the past, and I have a background in counseling also. So anyway, thank you.
Ma'am, do you want to speak? Go on up, please. Name and address, please.
My name is Donna Gibson. I'm at 1100 Thornwood Drive, Heath. I'm also the director of the community drop-in. So a lot of these people that we're talking about, actually 99% of them see me. I see 25 to 30 every day. I really like a lot of points in this. My only thing tonight is I couldn't read it. Before I was sick, so if I can get a copy, that would be great. The other thing that I wanted to ask a question about is I saw where the charges and the expungement, why does there have to be a charge? Why can't there be a charge if they do not complete it? So that would save financially someone from trying to get it expunged, because that can cost money. So that's a question that I have. I see no reason why anybody should be charged. It's like a pending. I see that happening. So you're good, you don't get it. The other thing was the service providers. I'm appreciative of Sherry to be the one to be the social worker. But the problem is it's a trust thing with people. And I found it immediately that when I started working with them, there's a trust that I have built up now. They know if I tell them something, they know I'm telling them, I mean what I say what I mean, and I'm trying to tell you to the best of my ability. That comes from trust. You're not gonna get somebody to go in an office and tell you everything that's going on with them to do a case management thing. You need those service providers who work with them. It needs to be, hey, you've been working with this person, so what's up? They're not talking to me. Did you know they had anxiety? Did they tell you anything? maybe we sit down together with that person at a certain time and just kind of figure out what's going on in their life. Usually there's one or two things that keeps them homeless. Could be trauma, could be mental health. It can be, because they got a divorce and they just, there's a lot of things. And it's not a simple, here's a case management plan, yay, everybody's good. That's not how it works. If that was the case, I could solve a lot with what I'm doing. I am getting people jobs, but that's because they trust me. They're getting them to recovery. We had 9 people from the community drop-in who went to recovery in February. That's something I'm pretty proud of. So those are the kind of things that happen because of trust. So I would like to ask you to add more in that, where everybody who's helping, whether it's reentry, whether it's us, whoever is involved, not just at court. Because maybe I can't get to court, but if I'm involved beforehand and I'm asking questions, I might make things easier in court. I don't know if that makes sense. Now they're willing to say, yeah, I want to do that. If you just say, here's all these things you can do, I guarantee you that 70% will walk out and say, just charge me. Because that's just how they are. So I love this. I'm so happy we're doing it. And I'm happy that we're taking the charge in this in Lincoln County because we need to. So I thank you.
Anybody else at this time?
President, may I speak? You remind people, I will be in the hallway afterwards if people have questions. So, ma'am, if you'd like to discuss, or we can talk in the hallway. Okay, afterwards, please wait around. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, next up is ordinance on the second reading. There are none this meeting. Next up is ordinance on the first reading, 25-06.
Ordinance number 25-06 by Mr. Labutus, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Rath. An ordinance amending Part 8, Title 2, Business Regulations of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Newark, Ohio, with marketing cartridge-based electronic nicotine delivery systems, ends, products, and other ends products that have not obtained pre-market authorization.
25-06 will be held until our next meeting, which would be March the 17th. Next up is 25-07.
Ordinance number 25-07 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Labutus. An ordinance accepting the deed of dedication of easement and right of way for public use of STEM Flex Way, a newly developed street located on the west side of Mount Vernon Road between North 21st Street and Myrtle Avenue.
25-07 will be held to our next meeting, March 17th. Next up is resolutions on the second reading, 25-05.
Resolution number 25-05 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Shute, Mr. Neely, Mr. Rath, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Labutus. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
Heard the reading of 25-05. What is your wish,
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
I make a motion to adopt resolution 25-05. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Cost.
Yeah.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
25-05 passes 10-0. Next up is resolutions on the first reading, 25-06 expedited.
Resolution number 25-06 expedite by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Labutus, Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
For the reading of 25-06, what is your wish,
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
make a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule on resolution 25-06. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Barker to waive the 2-day reading rule. Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Cost.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
2-day reading rule is waived. What is your wish?
Thank you, Mr. President. Make a motion to adopt resolution 25-06. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Barker to adopt. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Cost.
Yep.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
25-06 passes 10-0. Next up is 25-07.
Resolution number 25-07 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Labutus, and Mr. Rath. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to apply for financial support from the state of Ohio 2025 Urban Forestry Grant.
2507 will be held to our next meeting, March 17th. Next up is 2508.
Resolution number 25-08 by Mr. Shute, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Labutus, Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
2508 will be held to our next meeting, March 17th. Next up is 2509.
Resolution number 25-09 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
2509 will be held to our next meeting, March 17th. And then our last one tonight is 25-10.
Resolution number 25-10 by Mr. Labutus, Mr. Cost, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Rath. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety for the city of Newark, Ohio, to release the lien previously placed against the property located at and known as 900 Jones Avenue, Newark, Ohio, parcel number 054-192078-00.000, and declaring an emergency.
For the reading of 25-10, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Labutus?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 25-10.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Labutus, second by Mr. Hauser. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Cost,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy,
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
25-10 passes 10-0. Next up is another opportunity for you to come and speak. Do we have anybody tonight? Come on up.
Bruce Benson, 4075 Lawsburg Road in Newark. I just wanted to mention that the FOPA Lodge is having a fish fry this Saturday. I think you guys got this. Just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that the public is invited, and it's in honor of Fran, so we can put a tree in honor of Fran. And what we would also like to do is also start up a memorial fund in her honor for people that are in need of things, because Fran always was one that always tried to help anybody that she could. So we want to try to set up a fund in her name so that when we do have somebody that needs something, we'll have something available to help out the community. So it's this Saturday at the FOP Lodge, that is right beside Brewski's drive-through at 255 South Fifth Street. It's from 5 to 7, and it's going to be fish and fries and coleslaw, and $20 a plate. And it's going to be done by Heritage Catering, our famous recipe that Fran also loved. So we'd like to see you all there if we can, and hopefully it'll be a great turnout. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? City officials? Law director?
No, thank you.
Mayor?
I'll pass this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I'd just like to send my support for the home court network. Kind of like the bail, like bondsman is available at the jail, they'll kind of be available as one of the first contacts to help them out. So I like that. And then, yeah, the diversion, gets expunged. I'm not sure, I think it has to be, pending, the whole due process thing might affect that. So about the whole pending charge, and it might, how it is expunged. So, but yeah, definitely do that. Yeah, I just want to say my support for ordinance 25-06. Next council meeting, it'll be on its second reading, and it's the amendment of the business regulations of the nicotine delivery systems. So I know it's a little early, but I just want to, I think it's a very good idea. When you drive past smoke shops, it kind of looks like a Willy Wonka chocolate factory. So I feel like some of those probably need to be, FDA approved, maybe. So with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things here. Law Director Moore, Assistant Law Director Timmerman, thank you very much for all your hard work. I know you guys have been working on that for many months now, and it shows, and we appreciate all the providers here tonight, and Chad, Director Brown with the Health Department, we appreciate your support on this. Want to thank Director Rhodes and Nick Schultz on the Engineering Department for helping out with a safety issue, really kind of, but more of a roadway issue. The fifth ward that we've been kind of going back and forth on for at least the last 6 to 7 months, but that got started taken care of today. And then the street department was able to get out today as well on some major potholes where we had somebody call me and they had lost a tire in fifth ward, and so we got that taken care of today. So I appreciate their quick work. Greg Vickers and his team on that. And with that, I will pass. Thank you. Ms. Blind.
And thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilman, for your hard work. I appreciate that. So thank you. I'd like to thank the street department and property maintenance for their interventions. The citizens, you know, they call in, and it's so nice, as Councilman Barker said, they have prompt assistance. I really appreciate that. I'd like to thank Dan Motor and Explore Lincoln County for their assistance and coming together at the last minute to help out on another project. And Law Director Moore and Assistant Law Director Rich this is a great idea. And the thing I love about it is it creates narrative. And the good thing about any narrative is that you can build in first, then next. And there's a number of transitions to a good end. And also the great thing about a narrative is the finally is that person's choice. They have choice throughout. And so that's a beautiful thing. They give someone control of their life again and then be able to receive it. So that's a great thing. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Shute.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll echo my thanks for the initiative of the law director and the assistant law director. Appreciate your presentation. And appreciate all your hard work with this. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Cost.
I want to thank Tricia and Melanie both for what you've gotten started.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great way to move this issue forward. I also want to thank all the providers for being here this evening and knowing that you're going to be going to work alongside with all this, and it feels really good to see something moving in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cost. Mr. Hauser.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Labutus.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, just want to thank Law Director Moore, Assistant Law Director Timmerman. Great presentation. I know that last October, we went through the legislative process. We all had discussions, conversations, a lot of community conversation. And one of the things that I think I've said earlier, and I think I spoke for all of us on this council, is that the ordinance was just about putting people in jail and more interested. And so through both of your hard work, looking at other options, and then also working with service providers and having them provide options as well, I think that's what we're going to come to. So congratulations on working on that. I'm excited to see what will come of it as court starts. I'm looking forward to the redemption stories that come out of it. With that, I pass.
Famous Mr. Marmy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Need to call a finance committee meeting for March the 17th. I too want to thank the law director and assistant law director for the presentation and the information. I look forward to gathering a lot of more information on the program and seeing how it will be implemented. I too want to thank Mr. Hauser for his invocation this evening. A lot of death and a lot of illness recently, at least in my circles. And then I hear about a measles outbreak, and we hear about all the different tragedies that are going on in our country and in our state and in our city. And it's times like this that we need to look and count our blessings and look and see and just look around us how many wonderful people we have around us and how we work together. And I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate the administration, our safety forces. You know, all the different departments, law director, auditor's office within our city. And we have a lot that we are blessed with, even during these times of death and illness. And may God bless you all, and may God bless the United States. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Mr. Neely.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will also just thank Law Director Moore, Assistant Law Director Timmerman for their work on the home court. Thank you to all the community partners coming together, helping with that as well to make the best of that situation. So with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath.
Thank you. I'll call a service committee meeting for the 17th of March. And what with that, the KP legislation, we did have a lot of discussion like Mr. Labutus talked about. And we were interested in the opportunity to funnel people more into a program that provided services, much like you presented tonight. So I appreciate you guys doing that. And it's awesome to see all the service providers here in support of this group. You know, this initiative. I'm glad to see the community once again come together in force to help. That's very much appreciated. And Dr. Moore, I have an unrelated question for you, so if I can grab you before the hordes of people accost you for 10 seconds, I would appreciate that. That I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. I want to encourage council to go take a tour to the water plant up on Waterworks Road and down to the sewer plant down on East Main. Amy and I have been taking tours of the city, and we went to the sewer plant, the water department plant. And I guarantee you, when you get done, when you turn that water on, you'll appreciate that water. And everything that goes down in the drain, you'll appreciate that a lot better too. I was really impressed with what they did. You know, I guess there's kind of things that we take for granted, maybe departments, we never think about how important it is to the city, and it's really, really important. So I encourage you guys to go take a tour. It's about an hour long each. And then take a tour of the rest of the departments that you haven't been to. Our next meeting is March 17th. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Cost, second by Mr. Labutus. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.